Well, hello, kindred spirits. I thought I would share how my morning started the other day. And it wasn't by an alarm, it wasn't with Willow waking me up. It was our mini splits beeping and circuit breakers were popping all over the house. I found out later that a tree had fallen upon a wire and it was causing the power surges and then finally total electricity outage. And this was on our street and maybe part of another street. And the house was silent. There was no refrigerators buzzing, there was no fans whirring, there was no coffee maker sputtering. It was quiet. So I took this opportunity to create a stolen moment for myself. And at first it took me a while to realize that I still could make some coffee with my gas stove. I lit a match after lighting a candle, put the water on, and while that was heating up, I grabbed myself my French press. The water took its own sweet time to come to a boil, but it all felt wonderfully old-fashioned and intentional. The way mornings might have been a long time ago, and I think the way mornings should be still, long before buttons and beeps took over our morning ritual. Even though it was morning, the sky was overcast, and I felt it was the perfect time to light more candles and just read a book by candlelight and enjoy this quiet moment. The glow of the flickering candle across the wood was really just so cozy, and I enjoyed just sitting here, sipping my coffee, and getting some garden inspiration. This is my book from Bunny Williams. Now, unfortunately, as most moments do, this didn't last forever. About an hour after we first lost the power, the house whirred back to life. Lights came on and machines started beeping as power surged through their wires, and the hum of the modern life resumed. But you know what? I got up and I turned off everything I could other than the refrigerator, and I walked quietly back to my seat, coffee still warm, and I reclaimed just a few more stolen moments for myself before the day officially began. So while I wouldn't wish a power outage on anyone, I do hope in some small way that you might be able to carve out some moments like these, silent, unplugged, gently lit, and maybe sipping something enjoyable. Now, I have a little fun fact for you. Some of you may know this, but did you know the donut hole was created in New England? Maine to be exact, by Captain Hanson Gregory. Now, I know his mother first said that she was the one that created it. I read that somewhere, but his name's on the plaque, so we'll have to go with this. And it was stated that, one, the reason they did this was to cook the donut better in the middle, but Captain Gregory said he wanted to have a hole on it so he could put the donut on his spoke of the wheel of his boat while he was out to sea. I don't know. I kind of think Mom did it so that it would cook better in the center, and then he realized that the hole was perfect for the spoke for the wheel, but we're going to go with what Gregory said. Now, donuts will always bring back memories of my grandfather. When we would visit Nova Scotia, he would make donuts almost every visit, and I would wake early in the morning, and there he'd be in the kitchen rolling out the dough, cutting the donuts with the hole, mind you, and frying them up. And I always asked for the recipe, and the answer was always, it's a secret. Now, I just had to show you this during one of the visits. This is 1983, where I dressed up as my grandmother, donning her wig, her glasses, her clothes, her purse, and I have this picture of my grandfather and myself, and my grandfather was very serious, and I love seeing this picture because I actually see a smile on his face. Well, in 2003, 2 months before his passing, I was sent his book, or the book that he used, for the donut recipe. So I'm going to make this today, and I made it in 2020. It was actually April. I think I shared it in a video previously, but after this part, I'm going to show you the donuts that I made in 2020 because they did come out better than this batch. And I think I remember that I had to add a little bit extra flour, which I even had to do with this batch to get the donut holes that you're going to see me create. If you're watching this video when it first comes out, I probably won't have the recipe posted, but I will have it up and running very soon after because I do want to share this recipe with anybody who would like to try and make it. And if you do make it, please let me know if you had to adjust your flour or if I just did something wrong this time. But I'll let you know the ingredients here are 3 eggs, a cup of sugar, 2.5 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 cup of milk, 3.5 cups of flour, 4 teaspoons baking powder, 1.5 teaspoons salt, and 3/4 teaspoons nutmeg. I beat the eggs until they were foamy, and then I added the sugar and I mixed that well. Then I added the butter and the milk, and then you sift the flour, the baking powder, salt, and nutmeg together, and then quickly combine that with the batter. And then I put that in the refrigerator for a couple hours. Once it's ready and the oil is heated up, you can roll out your donuts and make either your round donuts or your holes. And I did more holes this time and it came out delicious. I have a few in the background there. They burnt first because I'm still trying to figure out the temperature of the oil here. I didn't have that in the book and I was winging it. Here are the donuts that I made in 2020. It took me that long to make my first batch of donuts from the book. Flowers and herbs, little luxuries from the garden, are being used for a little social gathering. I was asked to create the little flower arrangements for our club's gathering again this year, and my peonies were pretty much past, so I'm bringing some of the catmint. I have some dianthus here, I have some apple mint, Russian sage, I have some cranesbill there, and I also had some bachelor buttons. And I'm heading over to my friend's house to get some peonies because they had such a large quantity that they do every year, and he had some that was still able to be cut. Well, I have the peonies, I have the other flowers and herbs, and inside the club I was looking at this old photo. I just love seeing people having fun from days gone by. But now I have to make the arrangements, and it's very windy, so you're going to hear that in a moment.
Last year I did this. It was a major rainstorm, if you remember. This year, it's an amazing windstorm. Weather's been crazy lately. You're going to hear the wind in the background, but they brought me some mason jars like I used last year. I'm not going to wrap them in tissue paper this year. I'm going to keep it a little simple, but I did grab some ribbons. And then I have myself set up with the trash bag to put any of the deadheads or stems in there, and then just to try to keep it clean. And I'll be putting them on a table as I make them, and we're going to go from there. All right, I'm starting with my apple mint first so that they're all similar heights. And then I'm going to add some peonies and some other flowers for the table centerpieces, keeping them nice and low. We're doing 7 tables, so I'm going to make 2 per table at least and go from there. Here's what I have done so far. Each one has a peony, some dianthus, some geranium, cranesbill geranium, some catmint. I have peony leaves, a bud, and then the apple mint. I will put these aside, and if I have anything left over after doing the other arrangements, I can add some more. I might even show up early and bring a few more of the catmint. I like that little pop of purple. Actually, they might have a plant here to sneak from, I'm not sure. Some of you might remember I used this last year. I saw it on the shelf and figured I'd use it for the bar. But this year, I brought the copper frog and see how that works. And I still have some mint, I have bachelor buttons, I have some other geraniums left here. I have plenty of peonies to work with. And then I might get some other things outside. But this wind, I'm telling you, is crazy. I don't want to go under the trees.
I was running out of full open peonies, so I decided to create my own. I took some that were in that almost marshmallow stage and I opened it up. I'm going to roll it between my palms, give it another opening, a little more roll, and then I have a flower. I even cut off some of the dead petals on some of the peonies and used just the centers. And it was around this time I realized that I had a smaller urn than the one I used before. So this is the one I used this year, and last year I used this big urn. It's okay, everything turned out fine. Now that everything's done, it's time for me to go home, get dressed, and come back for our dinner tonight. And I just thought I would show you the lake. When I first arrived, there were white caps here on the water, but luckily it is toned down just a little bit. Well, friends, that's it for this week. Bye now.
Well, it is, let's see, a little after 9, and I did work in the gardens all day. I haven't gone in the house yet. I mean, I did for dinner, but I came back out and I have been working away, cleaning up the gardens, adding more stone. This is following the old edging that we had. At one point, these will be connected, but right now I'm just working with what I had and trying to get these gardens to a state that I can literally just enjoy them. So I've been weeding and moving plants and I will probably do more container plants in this area. I still have to clean up against the walls, but in the daytime it does look fairly nice. But the mosquitoes are out. The fireflies are too, but with fireflies are mosquitoes. Someday I'll fix my crooked arch. I might have to rebuild it, which I wouldn't be able to do until next spring when all of the trees are nice and leafless and soft, but I might be able to fix it. It was kind of crushed when a wall came down over here, but it's still very pretty at night with the twinkle lights. Good night, Moon.